Hi, my name's Michaela. Today I'll be reflecting on how my cultural background shaped my views on autonomy, death, and decision making, and how Last Cab to Darwin challenged some of these beliefs. I was born in Darwin and I lived in Humpty Doo until I was 15. Like Rex's town, it was a small, laid back community. My mother's English and my father's Australian, so I identify with both cultures. My dad's influence emphasized individualism and personal autonomy, while my mum's English background emphasized independence, and it placed a stronger focus on social norms and expectations. After leaving Darwin, I moved to Ingham, a small town, and later Cairns. These places influenced how I balance personal freedom with community and expectations, shaping my current understanding of autonomy. So, Last Cab to Darwin follows Rex, a white Australian man who travels to Darwin to pursue euthanasia, reflecting on Western values of personal autonomy. Along the way, he meets Indigenous characters like Tilly and Polly, whose collectivist values emphasize community, family, and spiritual connections. Their contrasting perspectives highlight how culture shapes our views on autonomy and end of life decisions. Watching Last Cab to Darwin made me reflect on how my upbringing influenced my reaction to Rex's decision. Growing up in an individualistic culture, I instinctively supported his belief in choosing his fate. His desire for control over his life resonated with my values of independence. However, the film challenged this view. For example, when Rex's friend Polly expressed distress over his decision, I initially felt kind of frustrated, thinking his choice was his alone. But reflecting on this, I realized Polly's reaction was shaped by collectivist values that prioritize the well being of the group over individual desires. Tilly's efforts to reconnect with his community also reminded me that autonomy can involve shared responsibility, not just independence. These moments showed me how my cultural lens shaped how I interpreted Rex's decision. As I reflected, I realized my motivational bias influenced my response to Rex's story. My individualistic values naturally led me to sympathize with Rex's desire for control. I also noticed availability bias, where I relied on my personal experience and overlooked the collectivist perspective of the Indigenous characters. For example, I initially dismissed Tilly's view of death as a communal process because it felt unfamiliar to me, which I now recognize as naturalistic fallacy. I assumed the Western focus on personal autonomy was the right approach simply because it felt normal to me. I also realized I was influenced by my assimilation bias, interpreting Tilly's collectivist values through the lens of my own individualistic culture, trying to fit his views into what I already understood. To address these biases, I can practice meta thinking, reflecting on how my background influences the way I think. Looking back on Tilly's story helped me realize how my instinct to support Rex was shaped by my personal values rather than an objective view. I could seek diverse perspectives by engaging with media that highlights collectivist values, like Tilly's emphasis on community. Additionally, I can challenge a naturalistic fallacy by reminding myself that what feels normal to me isn't always the best approach for everyone. This can help me develop a more balanced understanding of autonomy and decision making. Moving forward, I plan to challenge my biases by exploring films, articles, and books that present diverse cultural viewpoints, especially Indigenous Australian perspectives. I also want to engage in conversations with people from different cultural backgrounds to understand their values and how their values shape their perspectives on autonomy and decision making. By reflecting on my own experiences and how they influence my views, I hope to adopt a more open minded, empathetic approach to complex cultural issues. And this ongoing effort will help me develop a more culturally aware perspective.